Deep in the suffocating jungles of Vietnam, a storm tears through the canopy as two American soldiers stumble through the darkness. The squad leader grips his radio with trembling hands, calling for extraction, his voice barely cutting through the static. Then something moves, a blur between the trees. Before he can react, his partner is yanked, screaming into the foliage. The jungle swallows him whole. The leader unloads his rifle into the darkness, bullets shredding leaves and bark. He runs blindly through the jungle. He turns. Too late. The jungle claims another victim. At sunrise, inside a U.S. military camp, a terrified Vietnamese woman pleads with soldiers. She speaks of a feathered demon that took her husband in the night. They laugh it off. War does strange things to people. But then, a captured enemy truck arrives. Inside, sealed containers leaking radiation strong enough to set alarms screaming. Something isn't right. Minutes later, explosions echo in the distance. A transmission comes through. Another squad missing. Colonel Jericho doesn't hesitate. Send in Vulture Squad. Vulture Squad moves like ghosts. They slip into an enemy camp under cover of darkness. Two guards fall without a sound. A sniper's shot drops the lookout from his tower. Then, all hell breaks loose. Gunfire erupts as the squad storms the camp with ruthless precision. Within minutes, it's over. Bodies everywhere. Among the wreckage, they find prisoners. 3 Americans dead, 2 barely alive. Then, from the shadows, an enemy soldier lunges, a flash of steel. The sergeant's machete ends it instantly. No one speaks. Helicopters descend as new orders arrive before they can even catch their breath. Another mission, another jungle, another mystery. This time, something feels different. They're taken to a remote outpost where a caged tiger snarls violently at nothing, eyes locked on the tree line, as if it sees something no one else can. Colonel Jericho briefs them. A missing squad, strange sightings, an entire valley gone silent. Classified. Later, in private, Jericho pulls their leader, Baker, aside. "Keep your men in line," he says quietly. "Do this right, and your record gets cleaned." A deal with the devil. That night, the squad lifts off. Mid-flight, alarms start blaring, weapon systems failing one by one. Controls are still good, the pilot mutters, but whatever's down there, it's messing with us. They're dropped anyway. The jungle greets them with silence. Too much silence. They quickly find a trail, but it's massive, far too large for anything native. Not even elephants leave tracks like this. Then they see them. Footprints, 3-toed, gigantic, and scattered among them, feathers. The deeper they go, the worse it gets. A torn backpack lies in the mud, surrounded by spent casings. Someone fought hard here. Inside, a map marking Research Station 4 and a notebook. Just one sentence scrawled in panic. "We are being hunted." The squad exchanges uneasy glances. 2 sets of tracks lead away from the site. One human, the other not. They follow. As the jungle thickens around them, something moves just beyond sight. Branches shift, leaves tremble.
Suddenly, something grabs Baker's leg and starts dragging him on the ground. Baker quickly opens fire, not stopping until the mysterious creature drops him and runs away. The rest of the team rushes to check on him and patch his wounds before they carry on. Meanwhile, a team of Russian soldiers called the Dogs of War is also in the jungle, trying to find the Americans. They've kidnapped Conan to be their guide. They find some casings on the ground and notice they're still warm, so the soldiers ask Conan to pick up the trail. They also hear weird noises as they move ahead, and the soldier at the back of the line doesn't see the dinosaur in the bushes, so the beast quickly bites him with its huge jaws. When the others find the body with the organs out, they think the Americans did it. Back to the vultures, they continue to move while discussing the possibility of monsters in the jungle. Finding a huge claw on the ground makes them wonder if they should go back and pretend that they didn't find anything. However, Baker notices part of a soldier's uniform and announces that they'll keep going. Next, they enter a cave where they're devastated to find the bodies of the missing team. It seems they were ripped apart by a huge attacker. Something in the shadows makes some noise as the squad moves ahead. Suddenly, a pack of feathered dinosaurs jumps out, and the soldiers run to take cover while shooting at the beasts as fast as possible. Chaos and panic take over the cave as the men keep on firing their weapons, killing dinosaur after dinosaur without hesitation. In the havoc, Baker and Vern enter a narrow passage, accidentally separating from the others. The duo follows the passage until they leave the cave. They can hear some noises that indicate there are more dangerous dangerous beasts nearby, so they start climbing some vines to escape. A dinosaur soon finds them and tries to grab Baker, who immediately shoots the animal down. The gunshots get the attention of more dinosaurs, but they can't jump very high, so Baker and Vern keep on climbing until they make it to the top of the cave. In the meantime, the other vultures manage to leave the cave too. They hear noises in the bush and think more of the feathered dinosaurs are about to jump out, so they get ready to shoot. However, they wheeze when they see a giant beast walk by. After following the trail for a while, Baker and Vern stumble into a clearing and are shocked to find a huge dinosaur sleeping on the ground, surrounded by the skeletons of its meals. Suddenly, 3 babies appear from behind their sleeping parent and make noises at the humans, causing their parent to wake up. Baker and Vern start running as fast as possible.
Meanwhile, Baker and Vern roll down the valley since they're still being chased by the huge dinosaur. After lots of running, they manage to hide behind a fallen tree, and Baker throws a grenade at the beast to distract it. Then, they keep on running until they reach the edge of a cliff. They jump into the water to escape, and the dinosaur ends up falling along with them. In the river, Baker has to carry Vern to the shore because he's unconscious, and the dinosaur swims away.
"Don't shoot!" a woman shouted. A pale, exhausted scientist stepped into view with her hands raised. Beside her, Vern staggered weakly, barely conscious. "I'm Sophia," she said quickly. "If you want to survive this valley, follow me." The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances while Sophia helped Baker support Vern's weight. "You're wasting time looking for your men," she added grimly. "Most of them are already dead." The jungle around them suddenly echoed with distant screeches. That was enough motivation. As they followed Sophia through the valley, the jungle revealed its true nightmare. Creatures from another age roamed freely beneath the trees. Small feathered predators darted through the undergrowth like wolves. Massive, long-necked herbivores towered over the canopy, their footsteps shaking the earth. Brightly colored dinosaurs prowled between rivers and cliffs. The squad moved silently, weaving through the prehistoric wilderness. At one point, Keys and the others found themselves walking beside a herd of gigantic herbivores peacefully feeding on treetops. For a brief moment, the valley almost looked beautiful. Then one of the creatures let out a deafening roar that echoed for miles. Nobody relaxed after that. Sophia finally led Baker and Vern to a hidden structure buried deep in the jungle, Research Station 4. The concrete facility looked abandoned, covered in vines and scars from old explosions. "I've been here over a year," Sophia explained while unlocking a steel door. "Everyone else is gone." The group entered cautiously. Sophia immediately sealed the entrance behind them with heavy steel barricades. "This building is reinforced concrete and steel," she assured them. "Nothing gets inside." As Vern attempted to repair an old radio system, Baker noticed Sophia pulling a syringe from a cabinet. Without hesitation, she injected herself in the arm. The soldiers instantly raised their weapons. "What the hell was that?" Baker demanded. Sophia calmly lowered her sleeve. "Medication," she answered. "You wouldn't survive here long without something to keep the nightmares away." No one liked that answer. Finally, Sophia revealed the truth. General Borden killed everyone connected to this project. Scientists, soldiers, entire research teams. She walked toward a massive faded diagram hanging on the wall. At the center of this valley, the Russians built an experimental particle collider. "The hell for?" Vern asked. "To open a wormhole." The room went silent. Sophia continued. "They believed they could create gateways anywhere on Earth. Instant military invasions. No borders, no warning." Baker stared at her in disbelief. "And the dinosaurs?" Sophia's expression darkened. "The collider worked." Vern suddenly shouted from the radio station. "I got someone!" Static crackled through the room before Colonel Jericho's voice emerged. "Identify yourself. This is Baker," he snapped. "You lied to us." The next morning, Baker, Sophia, and Vern left the station to search for the remaining vultures. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad was crossing a wide clearing surrounded by cliffs. That's when the gunfire started. Bullets tore through the grass. Keys screamed and collapsed, clutching his bleeding leg. "The Russians!" someone shouted. The dogs of war had found them first. Both sides dove for cover behind rocks and fallen trees, exchanging heavy fire across the field. Dirt exploded everywhere as bullets ripped through the open terrain. Then the jungle sky exploded with shrieks. Everyone looked up. Gigantic flying dinosaurs swooped overhead. The creatures dove straight into the battlefield. One massive beast crashed down beside a Russian mercenary and stabbed its razor-sharp beak into his stomach, lifting him screaming into the air before tearing him apart. The other flying predators descended immediately. Within seconds, they were feeding. Both soldiers and mercenaries stopped fighting. The vultures fled into the jungle, while the surviving Russians fired desperately at the creatures before escaping with Conan. Hours later, the exhausted squad stopped to bandage Key's leg. That's when Baker's group finally found them. Strange chirping sounds echoed through the trees. Then, dozens of small dinosaurs burst from the jungle. The creatures moved like hunting dogs, circling the squad at terrifying speed. Some climbed trees, while others darted between the soldiers' legs. Suddenly, one of the beasts leapt onto Keys and dragged him screaming into the jungle. "Keys!" The squad chased after him through the trees. Keys slammed into the mud beside a massive tree trunk, while several dinosaurs surrounded him, hissing aggressively. The others suddenly scattered in panic. Keys looked around, confused. A massive predator emerged from the darkness, bones cracked. Keys screamed in agony. Barely conscious, he heard his teammates approaching through the trees. With the last of his strength, he pulled his combat knife free and stabbed the dinosaur deep in the neck. The beast roared furiously. That's when the vultures arrived, unloading everything they had into the monster. The predator finally retreated back into the jungle. Keys collapsed. Still alive. Barely. By evening, the battered survivors returned to Research Station 4. Keys was laid across a steel table while Sophia injected him with painkillers. Later that night, Baker noticed Sophia quietly leaving the room. He watched her inject herself again. "You're addicted," Baker realized. Sophia looked away. "My husband warned them this would happen," she whispered. She finally revealed the full truth. Her husband had been a nuclear physicist. She was a paleontologist. Together, they had been recruited by the Russian military for a classified project deep in the Vietnamese jungle. The collider wasn't just opening portals, Sophia explained. It was tearing holes through time itself. Baker stared at her. "You're telling me those things came from the past?" Sophia nodded slowly. And every time they turned the machine on, something worse came through.
However, Borden cut corners. The collider malfunctioned and opened a portal to the past, allowing dinosaurs to come to the present. Afterward, the whole research team was killed, except for Sophia, who wasn't in the building when the Russian soldiers came. Borden abandoned this lab and is now building another collider in the mountains. Later that night, the soldiers see a dinosaur running near the building and decide not to shoot to avoid giving away their position. However, the dinosaur finds a window and the men are forced to shoot at its head anyway. All the commotion gets the attention of more creatures, so the vultures rush to position themselves on the windows and continuously shoot their weapons for several minutes until the beasts are gone. When something starts pounding on the door, they shoot at it too, only for the dinosaur to return to the window instead. All the soldiers concentrate on attacking it, which leaves an opening for a second creature to burst through the door. The vultures work together to push the beasts back and lock the door. Then, one of the dinosaurs climbs on the glass roof and breaks it with its head. The men shoot at it too, but they can't keep up with all the dinosaurs at the same time. Sophia tells them about a back door to escape to the docks, but Keys knows he won't survive, so he asks them to leave without him. Stovall shares one last cigarette with him before running away with the others. When the dinosaurs finally make their way inside, Keys activates 2 grenades. On the docks, the others watch the explosion and mourn their friend before getting on a boat. The next morning, the boat is still sailing upriver. Baker tells his team about the other collider, and they agree to destroy it. Sophia wants to give them a warning, but passes out because of her withdrawal. When she wakes up, she explains they can't bomb the collider because it would destroy the world. Instead, they must pull the plug. The soldiers admire the dinosaurs in the area, and Sophia uses the chance to try to steal another injection. The men try to stop her, and in the struggle, they drop the syringe, only for a dinosaur to catch it as it jumps out of the water. Baker scolds Sophia and gives her cigarettes to help her cope. Stovall watches the aquatic creature go to the shore and feed on smaller dinosaurs, but the others don't let him shoot it down. Then, Stovall considers self-deleting. However, Baker stops him just in time and reminds him that they need him. After several hours of sailing, the group makes it to a foggy area. As soon as they land, they find a bunch of human bodies on the ground. They move carefully through the jungle, but the fog still blocks their vision, so it's easy for a pack of small dinosaurs to jump on them by surprise.
A group of soldiers spots movement in the brush, a small baby dinosaur wandering too close to the perimeter. Without hesitation, they open fire. The creature drops. Silence follows. Then General Bourdon storms in, furious. "Idiots! Do you have any idea what you've done?" They find out seconds later. A roar, deep, violent, earth-shaking,
rips through the jungle. Men run, the dinosaurs chase, and they enjoy it. Bourdon bolts for cover, diving into a nearby building. Baker's team tries to follow, but the creatures are everywhere. They're forced to take cover, waiting for even a second of breathing room. That's when something personal explodes. Conan locks eyes with Miller. Recognition, hatred, you, she growls. She lunges. They crash to the ground, locked in a brutal fight. Punches, knives, pure rage. But a shadow looms over them, forcing both under a military truck as a massive dinosaur smashes through tanks nearby like paper. Even then, they keep fighting. Miller finally shoves her off and tries to escape, but Conan tackles him again, blade raised. "Wait," he pleads. I was just following." Too late. He triggers the explosives. A massive blast engulfs them both. The shockwave tears through the battlefield, killing them instantly. And for a moment, even the dinosaurs retreat. Inside the building, Baker's group pushes forward, reaching a lab. One scientist tries to stop them. He doesn't last long. The others step aside. Sophia rushes to the control systems. "I can shut it down," she says, hands flying over the panel. The rest of the vultures regroup, but the moment shatters as Bourdon appears, gun raised. "You have no idea what you're destroying." Gunshot. Baker drops him. Sophia steps forward, furious, but doesn't pull the trigger. "No," she says coldly. "I won't be like you." She turns and cuts a main cable. The lights die. Darkness. Then the emergency systems flicker back on. Bourdon is gone. And outside, the smell of blood has drawn everything. Dinosaurs flood the base. Dozens of them. Maybe more. They block the exits. They're feeding. And then they notice the survivors.
"Move!" Baker shouts. Smoke grenades go out. Gunfire follows. It's not enough. The creatures pour into the building, smashing equipment, tearing through walls and soldiers. One man goes down screaming, ripped apart in seconds. Another tries to use the control panel, gone before he can even react. "Set the charge!" someone yells. Explosives are planted. The team retreats, but one soldier stays behind, firing non-stop to hold the line. He knows he's not making it out. The explosion takes him and part of the lab with it. Sophia leads the survivors through a back exit. They run. No formation, no plan, just survival. One of the vultures is dragged down, gone. They don't stop. They can't. They reach a ladder leading out of the valley. "Go," Baker orders. One by one, they climb. Baker stays behind. Someone has to slow them down. He runs. The dinosaurs follow. He throws grenades behind him. 1, 2, not enough. They catch him. The last thing the team hears is the explosion, then silence. The survivors emerge into daylight, straight into a war zone. Helicopters roar overhead. Colonel Jericho stands ready with reinforcements. "Open fire!" Everything unleashes at once. Machine guns, rockets, aerial support. Flying creatures dive from above, only to be torn apart mid-air. Men fall, but the line holds just long enough. Behind them, the base collapses. The final explosion destroys the collider. The jungle trembles, and the dinosaurs scatter. Back in the helicopter, no one speaks until Jericho breaks the silence. Sophia looks out at the endless jungle. It's already too late. They follow her gaze. Far in the distance, something massive moves where it shouldn't. Outside the valley, free. The collider didn't just bring them here, she continues. Destroying it destabilized everything a beat. They're not contained anymore. The war was already hell. Now it has something far worse. And somewhere out there, the hunt has just begun.